There you go, onto mayonnaise. Fish in water gets brought out by the Dutch. Now onto Keisha. Lee is doing his best to soak up damage.
Eating at the best up. Unruffy does propel away. The calling is just too much. And that would be a cleanup for Navi with a double kill.
First dagger is thrown down. Shunpo getting the reset. See Nazir is gone. And the rest on the Data Manila will be doing the cleanup work. It's a double carry. Wings getting blocked out here with an item. As he leaves his gentleman the number 1 seed from the Mindanao Conference still engaged.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Interconference series of the Lenovo LCL 2017 Spring Term. We will be your shoutcasters for the first game. I am Vulcan, and joining with me is my co-caster, Arctic. So, coming in from that the second day, so yesterday, how was the game for you? Like, what can we expect from the... I'm not we know that the conference is different right now, but still, it's something worth sharing.
Yeah, I mean, I was very surprised actually with Group A. I actually had somewhat mid to low expectations from the games yesterday, but wow, I mean, suddenly teams are showing up, you know, they really prepared. It definitely shows that they really prepared for the Interconference series. I mean, Malayan College's Laguna is probably one of the teams that I really like in terms of how they played it yesterday. But yeah, Group A, it's going to be a completely different story for today because it's actually what a lot consider the group of death. So a lot of great teams, and I feel like there's a lot of storylines going here. Of course, we have a lot of strong teams, and then at the same time, it's like the battle for which is the better Ateneo here, because it's both ADU and ADMU within the same group. So that's going to be very interesting as we see that story unfold here for Group A.
And not to mention, we're seeing from the previous Interconference series, we noticed that despite someone being the first seed or the second seed, I don't think it doesn't matter anymore.
Definitely. And it actually did show yesterday because we had Adams University, top seed for Metro West, and basically a lot of people think that teams from the NCR have like a lot of strength going into it just because of that thing wherein you're from Metro Manila, and you know how Metro Manila is like a huge breeding ground for a lot of great players. But then again, like they had this huge upset yesterday wherein they were taken down by what I believe is the third seed pa nga ata ng North Luzon. So grabe talaga. Sobrang, again, predictions all out the window. It doesn't matter what your ranking was. It all comes down to it in the Interconference series.
So right now it would be the first game would be TUP against ADMU ASE, I mean, Technological University of the Philippines. What can you say about these both teams, Theo?
Wow. I mean, again, these are some of my favorite teams actually in Group A right now because we have a lot of superstars. TUP Acedia from TUP. Yeah, duh. But yeah, Acedia, actually one of the players that played not only for Emperor Esports, but he was actually the winning top laner for when La Liga Pilipinas actually qualified for PGS as well. So he definitely has a lot of experience, even though not necessarily in the PGS, but still really helped a lot of teams realize their dream to make it into the PGS. And at the same time, of course, ADMU, another one of those consistently great teams, I'd say, in the LCL. Not to mention, we have players like Mikos, we have Zen, which actually has PGS experience as well. So, but then again, we have seen teams that, even though they might have had that PGS background, didn't necessarily translate to being dominant or at least leading teams to victories in the LCL. So, you know, we'll just have to see if they manage to follow that same trend or if they could break that and beat the odds and prove that their pro experience actually translates to victories.
One of the key players we should watch out for on ADMU side would be their support, Mikos, because he was the one who actually pioneered the formation of the Celestial Esports.
Yes, indeed.
And not to mention, he has been transferred from in and out of the PGS teams. I think his second team was Cerberus, which rebranded to Team Manila Eagles. But on TUP's side, we have not yet to see anyone really making a standout in the pro scene.
Yes, definitely. So, well, you know, it's up to them, definitely, to show that they could actually go up against a team that is somewhat well-known players for ADMU. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out the bans here. So, Zillion, Elise, and Leeson banned out in the first rotation from ADMU, while they'll be responding with the Galio, Gragas, and Lulu as well. So I'm actually not surprised. Elise and Leeson, so there's a heavy emphasis on banning out Zen here. And then at the same time, Galio, something that they might have seen TUP actually use or prepare for in the Interconference series. Because, you know, there's a lot of scouting that you can do in between the weeks, between the conference and the Interconference series. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, in the second rotation, we have the Vayne, Syndra, and Karim, Ivern. No surprise right there. You know, a lot of target bans, a lot of respect, and that's actually what you really need going into this game. Sometimes it's not really about banning what's in the meta, but you really have to scout out your opponents to see what pocket picks they have or what champions they're efficient at.
And this is where the 10-man system come into play, where it's really emphasized on how you scout your enemies. And right now, we're seeing a really nice draft from both teams. I can't see anything of, you know, of meta or something that's really unusual. Renekton in the top lane has been getting more and more popularity throughout the pro scene and right now in the LCL, but I don't think it's going to fare well against Nautilus. Despite Nautilus being very tanky or more of a defensive champion, I can't really emphasize enough that is the stun, the immobilization, plus the Titan's Wrath will out-damage a Renekton. So I think, in my opinion, that in this top lane matchup, Acidia would be the advantage right now.
And not to mention the fact that there are a lot of great items kind of geared towards tanks this mid-season patch. So, you know, it just makes Nautilus all the more
powerful.
Exactly. There you go.
I mean, the Sunfire has been nerfed for the damage to champions, but the bonus damage to the minion wave just goes to show that tanky champions, let's say Nautilus or Shen, where they don't push the lane that effectively, they can actually use the Sunfire.
Indeed, indeed. But yeah, we'll just have to see those events unfold later. And of course, be sure to tune in throughout the stream as we have our search and win, where you could win 1 of 6 mystery gifts. And you know, there's a lot of great skins that you could actually get out of that. So, you know, maybe the Dark Star skins, those were absolutely awesome, by the way. And yeah, I mean, there's so many different stuff. Maybe a legendary, maybe an ultimate if you really get really, really lucky. Who knows?
Well, I've received myself a mystery gift once. It was Dragon Slayer Jarvan.
Oh.
And because of that, I actually used it in one of my ranked flex with my friends.
How did that go for you?
I fed the lane
so
hard.
God, no.
So yeah, I forget that I know that Jarvan has a high win rate. I forgot that it's actually in the junk. Not on the top. So to our viewers out there, if you want yourself to win a mystery gift, follow the stream as not religiously but loyally, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
In a way that you can pick up the minor details, but we will try our best to point out the details that might come out in the trivia.
Yeah, yeah, because like a lot of the questions, guys, it's definitely reliant on you needing to really focus on the details of the match. It's not about like champion trivia or whatnot. It's actually like information you get within that immediate match. And of course, you'll have to wait for the link as well to pop out. And yeah, most likely when the link usually pops out, it means that whatever information happened prior before it being released, that's where the question is usually drawn from. But yeah, again, of course, going back to the matchup against ADMU in TUP, I mean, these are actually two of the strongest, not necessarily the strongest, but the two teams that I really look forward to watching in Group A right now, just because of reputation. Again, Acidia, Zen, Mikos, all great players, all with great reputations as well. Not only just great players on the Rift, but they're actually, like, as individuals as well. They're actually really cool people, so really looking forward to seeing how they play.
So this is where the LCL, the brand is that. This is the semi-pro league. Now it's coming to play in the Interconference series of Stage 3. So right now, in the speaking of the format, each group will only have one representative. So, so this is going to be very difficult at Costco. As far as I know, that you cannot place second or third or any. It's only the first.
Indeed.
That will be picked off. So very difficult.
It's like the Hunger Games happening right here, ladies and gents. There's a lot of participants per group, but only one can proceed to the next stage. And we'll just have to see which team manages to make it. Again, this is like the group of death. So a lot of strong teams, a lot of favorites actually fighting for that one spot, and it's very crucial. And just one single loss could actually like throw you off in terms of reaching that top spot right there.
This is the double round robin where the two teams will be playing twice. So you do get a chance to at least have some counterplay, but I don't think that's enough time. But still, I think some teams can actually utilize that, and just goes to show how adaptive and effective that team is.
Yeah, I mean, because like I've worked with an LCL before, right? I mean an LCL team before, right? I worked with AMA, East Rizal, I've worked with TIP. The interesting thing is that sometimes, I mean, because it is the LCL, the reality is that since they're students also, it could go both ways. Either if you don't really have enough time to really grasp the meta, you'd lean towards your pocket picks, and that actually works because some teams, they try to push for meta picks, but since they don't really have enough time to really grasp it, sometimes the pocket pick still prevails. And I think this was pretty evident in one of the games yesterday for Malayan College's Laguna. I believe they were up against University of Cordilleras, wherein Lucis pulled out his pocket Mordekaiser pick, which is he's actually known for in solo queue as well. So that being said, it just goes to show how much like those type of factors really matter in such scenarios such as the LCL.
So you're saying that despite some champions being in meta, just because it's meta, you don't necessarily pick it because
If you're not, because like if it's in
it
meta,
all comes down to how comfortable you are in the champion.
exactly, there you go. Because like, let's say a Syndra in meta right now, but if you can't use that champion properly, I mean, what's the use? You might as well end up feeding in lane, and that would be pretty bad for your team. So you really have to figure out what your strengths are.
Like in my way, my pocket pick is a Jarvan top, so I end up feeding a lot. So should I actually use that in the LCL? Because it is my pocket pick. I mean, none of the top metas actually match me, because that's what you said. So if this is the LCL, if people play their pocket picks, does that give them an advantage necessarily?
Yeah, I mean, it could go either both ways. An advantage in the sense that, sure, it might not be in meta right now, and there's a reason why some champions aren't in meta, of course. But at the same time, if you're the type of person that really knows how to use that champion, his strengths and weaknesses inside out, and use that to your advantage against an opponent, let's say, uses a champion that's in meta right now, but he might not necessarily be efficient at it, then that's where sometimes it makes all the difference. And I really like actually how some of the players in the LCL have demonstrated that. Sure, they actually use champions that you don't even see in the pro scene, but come into the LCL because they're so efficient at using that champion. It not only results to them performing really well, but sometimes it could also catch your opponent off guard, because sometimes when you use these off-meta champions, opponents don't really know how to respond to it sometimes. But yeah, let's go ahead into game one between Technological University of the Philippines versus Ateneo de Manila University. I get confused with TUP and TIP sometimes.
I know that feel. I sometimes even get confused with PUP.
Yeah, and then there's ADMU, So
this would be the first game of the Sunday esports action. So on the blue side would be TUP, whereas ADMU would be on the red side. So something we should watch out for is that Rek'Sai against the Graves. We haven't seen Rek'Sai that dominating in the jungle so far. It's mostly that Graves, and despite the nerfs, I don't even see that as a nerf, just removing the MR from the Graves.
Exactly.
So we can see some blue star against the red star, because seeing them, I don't think they will be going for the Raptor Red, which will give you the level 2 spike, more of a versatile jungle rot, but most likely these teams are going to be playing a bit, I'm not pretty sure, passive, or will it be a much more slower game?
Well, let's go ahead and check out how the rotations are going for the jungle first. First off, we have both sides starting off on the lower side of the map respectively. So looking at these lanes here, there might be early ganks. Not early ganks, but as far as which lanes we might most likely will see ganked by the junglers within the first few minutes, most likely either mid or top. And yeah, I mean, what's interesting is that against the LeBlanc, I don't think Chan can really get a gank on unless Bam lands a crucial charm so that he could follow up with a knockup. But then again, because LeBlanc could easily, she has the tools to escape. As far as vulnerability in the lanes, I'd somewhat peg it. It's actually tricky because a lot of champions have ways of escaping in case of ganks. It's just that it's up to the laners to just kind of not overextend, just try to balance the lane to avoid any potential ganks. And definitely, Chan definitely has a lot more tools to actually make a successful gank because he has his own CC as opposed to Den, where he only has the smoke screen.
Normally, you would actually gank the Renekton pre-level, which is very powerful because we know that the Nautilus has the Drench line, but Zen's spotting out Chan. So trying to show some dominance, but he might be going just to scare him off. That's because Rek'Sai, in my eyes, he has a decent clear, but if he ganks too slow or too late, that's not gonna help too much. But right now in the bottom lane, you can see that Nikos really likes to play that aggressive part, likes to zone out the enemy, and such a skill shot heavy based champion like Karma, I think Nikos excels so well in skill shot based champions. Most noticeably his Morgana from the Celestial Esports.
Exactly. And And I really just noticed, it looks like TUP will actually not be using a CD for this game. They'll be using Zeet instead, one of their substitutes. So this will be actually interesting, as I feel like Acedia definitely one of the crucial members for TUP, but hold that thought right there.
Oh, ADMU's bot lane duo going all into the bot lane of TUP, but there's the retaliation. First block. Jules being exhausted. Mise is going on a chase, but the teleport from Fupi will just scare them off. And this is what you don't want to do on a first blood Caitlyn. Getting the first blood is bad news for Lucian, despite Caitlyn does have the higher range. So Jules, one of the members who doesn't really stand out too much, will be more pressured, in my opinion.
Exactly, and if you're gonna look at this is very textbook.
This is bad. Yeah,
exactly. And it's a Caitlyn Morgana, so the tricky part is that you want to avoid the dark bindings. You want to, because like once you get hit by that dark binding, follow it up with a trap. Then that's good. You're gonna take a lot. That's gonna hurt like there's no tomorrow, man.
Yeah, and this is going to be where Mikos was really well known for his Morgana getting the first blood for his ADC.
There you go.
So this is something that ADMU really has to think through.
And the tricky part is that there's like a huge CS difference as early as the first almost 5 minutes of the game. 10 CS up on the Illusion. So ADMU definitely has their work cut out for them. And I feel like it's up to Chan. I mean, it's really up to Zen in a way to kind of help things balance out, because they're going to have a really tricky guy against Navi and Mise. And
this is the problem with the giving the first one. Seeing Navi did not even get the first one item, but right now this would be the rotation from Chan from the Riverside. Mikos has his flash, burns it off, but right now there's a bot lane. Just gets stunned and rooted by Julius. So here comes Zen for the counter grant. 3 members of TUP actually are very low, but Chan goes in for the flash and knockout. That would be a sweep double kill, and now Zen is going on to Meekhead. That's going to be a flash burn by the Morgana, very low. So Zen right now would be trying to clean up the fight, but there is the kite from Navi. Walmart Christian may help. He dodges the dredge line. That would be the end of the line, but not for Navi.
Wow, that was a very interesting outplay there by Navi. Wow, I mean, great prediction there to actually move right as opposed to left, wherein he might have got that would have actually resulted to a kill. So good on them for making that work. So let's go and check out what happened to the mid lane though, because we did see a death happen. So here we go, Bam actually getting a crucial charm onto center right there. Just released a full barrage of attacks along with that ignite, and that's a very squishy LeBlanc. That auto attack really sealed the trick to make sure that ignite took down the LeBlanc.
Things are looking pretty rocky for ADMU. Giving the first blood to Navi. On top of that, 2 assists and 1 kill. Just rushed that BF sword and a dagger. So this really spells strong for Jules, one of the players that we have to watch out for. Has to perform and really dictate what he has to do right now as a Lucian. Normally you would see Lucians, if they really want to rush the Blade of the Ruined King, they would pick up a longsword start. But right now we saw Jules starting with, I'm not sure, with the Doran's Shield?
Yeah. Perhaps because like he was estimating that he was gonna get poked a lot, but then again, that's a rework Doran Shield.
So I think it was more of a longsword and refitting quad start. But picking up a Doran Shield, this just goes to show how Jules does not have the confidence.
Yeah, in a way.
Lane.
Not just, I wouldn't say it's not that he has the confidence. I guess it's more of the respect that he realizes that a 2-0-2 Caitlyn within the first 7 minutes of the game is absolutely absurd. And that's going to be very tricky here for him, which is why it's definitely a lot. If anything, the other members of ADMU really need to perform in the other lanes to make up for the bot line deficiency right now, because they are just so way behind at this point.
Sometimes we see that Mikos is really overstepping his limits in a way that he really tries hard to poke out this bot lane duo of TUP. But in the end, he himself is putting in a dangerous position where he can get binded by the Morgana, and that is a very long bind if the Morgana obviously is going to be leveling up the Q first. So things are looking more of a, they're going back in the turret. They know they have to respect, they have to adapt. This is where the play comes into place. They have to expect Zen to make the crucial ganks more of a counter gank.
Yes.
But in a way that he also has to respect the damage coming from Navi.
And you know, they really have to upplay, because Navi actually with the fancy footwork earlier, that just proves to show how slippery he might be on that Caitlyn. So we'll just have to see. It's definitely up to ADMU to really step up at this point. But yeah, TUP actually performing really good despite not having a CDN in this game. It looks like all the rest of the members of TUP alone could actually perform really well. And I mean, it's very telling of how strong they are as a team and why they even made it to the Interconference series in the first place.
more of a interconference series where they have to adapt, right? I mean,
Exactly.
they can stick to the same play, but right now, Mise on point with those Morgana binds. You have to
I
watch
know, right?
out. Shouldn't maybe. I would recommend Jules to pick up Mercury threads. But normally we see ADCs picking up the Ninja, tapping for that dual potential. But what can you recommend for the Jules, which is having a hard time dodging those skill
Exactly. You know, that's the tricky part here. Like, Jules, I mean, he already responded with the Doran shield. I mean, if he builds all the more items just so that he could avoid the damage output coming from both Navi and Mise in, then
But
it's gonna be so tricky for him, man. But here comes Chan, though.
Chan has no mercy in the bot lane. They want to keep snowballing. Nico's gets taken out by Navi, and now I don't think Jules is going to survive that one. That would be a 3-0-3. Caitlyn continuously snowballing in the bot lane.
This is one of the tricky parts for Ateneo de Manila University. Like, I mean, Mikos is definitely a seasoned player, but there's somewhat of a disconnect in their bot lane duo thus far that I'm kind of worried that TUP actually just going to continue to take advantage of that for them to just continue to just spiral way ahead of ADMU at this point. It looks like this will be the first break of the game.
This is something you have to expect from a type of play in the interconference series. When you get a kill, you transition that to an objective, and that's why we see TUP taking the ocean break. A really effective first buff for them. So we see an Ari, a Caitlyn, or a Morgana. Not a really strong buff in the early phase of the game, but right now, bam! Almost got a kill on Xeno.
Almost. But yeah, good for him. Again, Admo really needs to avoid any more deaths because 7-2 is a really big difference in a way for the first 10 minutes of the game. It's something that, I mean, like the Caitlyn 3-0-3 right now, only gonna get more painful. That's almost...
Look at that. A Zeal and a Berserker's Greaves. On top of that, a CS lead of 15. That's more of a two-wave. So it just goes to show that giving the first blood is showing right now where Navi is really abusing the range of that Caitlyn.
And the tricky part here is that, like, we have seen Zen kind of attempt to help out bot lane, but it really hasn't resulted to anything fruitful. That being said,
It's difficult.
It's difficult, definitely. I feel like in order for ADMU to really counter this bot lane, they really have to use like more than just Zen, like perhaps a rotation from Zeno, teleport play from Poopy, whatever they can. But because right now, looking at the difference between the solution and Caitlyn, there's just no way Jules and Mikos could go head to head with this duo right here from TUP.
And if ever Poopy pours into side, Zeke can just use the depth charge, just cancel out that teleport. This is where we see how a Nautilus can really outpower a Renekton in the top lane, because the fact that you don't need to kill a Renekton to win against it. Deny the teleport plays, the CS, and you will scale up naturally.
Okay, but ooh, there we go. But yeah, again, look at the confidence here from TUP. They know how much of a lead they have, and it's just ADMU, you know, clearly just needing to sidestep everything that comes their way, and that's kind of the tricky part here, because they're just gonna keep on getting abused throughout this laning phase unless ADMU actually does something proactive to counter this.
And not to mention, Chad is being a more of a proficient jungler compared to Zen because of the CS of the creep score, not to mention the KDA where he has more successful ganks. Whereas Zen, Graves should not invest too much, but right now, a double gank in the mid lane perhaps?
Perhaps. I mean, Zen, look at the confidence, you know, trying to do what he can to get things going for his team right here. But yeah, I gotta commend Poopy as well, who's actually been doing well against this Nautilus as well. There's a roughly more than 20 gold CS difference right now, so maybe Poopy might be the answer to help things get back on track for ADMU.
But it'll be difficult because Renekton really falls heavily in the late phase of the game. But if Poopy does make the teleport play they need, they can expect a comeback. But right now we're seeing a rotation from Zen. Poopy going in onto Zed, which is not smart on the Nautilus, but right now, here is the collapse. Poopy does have the dominance ready, but that turns onto Zen. That would be a flash burn by Zed. That's a lot of resources burned for just one kill.
Exactly. But then again, you know, considering how somewhat behind ADMU is right now, they need to take every advantage that they can. And perhaps ADMU did realize that it might be a lost cause to try to salvage Jules and Mikos for the meantime. Perhaps the only option that they have at this point is to just allow
Jules going in with the pursuit, but the focus is onto Jules. Teleport play will not happen at all. Navi's on a rampage, rooted by Mise. Mikos in a bigger trouble, and that will be a double kill. Easy double kill for the bot lane of TUP. And right now, Poopy might just regret his teleport play.
Oh man, Jules trying to make something out of this. Impatience was definitely there. And as a result, 2 members of ADMU down again, only putting TUP's lead.
Oh boy, Zena comes in from the mid lane. A shutdown bounty onto Navi. Zed is there from the top lane. Not is there. Zeno forcing out his flash. Zen trying to get a kill out to Mise. Will he succeed? Mise probes over the wall. Safety for Mise and a double kill for Chan.
Wow, great outplay there by Zeno though. But yeah, that was definitely a very, very messy fight. In fact, somewhat questionable by Jules and Nikos.
Oh, bam! One more rush, he has it, and that is a Thunder Lord's Degree kill.
Dang. But yeah, as I was saying, Jules was definitely overstepping his boundaries right there. He knew that the Caitlyn was way too ahead and still decided to try to go for the 2v2. And that being said, you know, that was a very early death for him. I mean, like, if he had the patience to actually wait for Poopy, maybe try to make a teleport play, that would have made all the difference. But then again, they just went at it too early, and as a result, just only made TUP a lot more stronger and a lot more ahead. So let's go ahead and check out the replay here. So we actually have the teleport attempt for Poopy. Jules is actually already dead at this point, and that was just Navi getting the double kill. Poopy, realizing that he doesn't really have the backup to do anything just yet, tries to kite around, but then again, here we go. We actually have the LeBlanc now coming within the range. So it's Poopy trying to dive in onto the members of TUP, but then again, this is an extremely effective Navi, not to mention. So although LeBlanc did get the shutdown, it was pretty much a numbers game at this point. TUP still had a lot more members alive, and they did actually go for the convergence here. So Zen actually tries to take down Mise, but he's just so squishy right now, so he can't really deal with the rest of the members of TUP. So TUP easily taking down Zen right there, and Seno actually good on him because he actually made this tricky outplay there. But yeah, again, TUP performing really strong.
We're seeing how the impatience of Jules is really burning the team of ADMU, whereas TUP, they are completely going in on brute force because they have the itemization, they have the advantage. But right now, Nikos caught by BAM on the red side of their own jungle. As you can see that TUP is really establishing vision control. But right now, Jules trying to get some revenge for his support. That will be a bite onto Zen, knocks it out. That's a redemption onto the members of TUP with Chan. 6-2-2.
Oh man, things are just going way too south for ADMU really fast. And the tricky part here is that it's not just about TUP performing so well. It's ADMU making a lot of crucial mistakes, which TUP capitalizes on so hard. And looks like we will be seeing the referral being taken.
That's going to be a very juicy objective, more of an objective where if you have a lead, you would do anything you can to close the game as early as you can. Because we all know that when it comes to the late game, Jules will catch up. But I don't think in a 60-minute mark where Jules is 1-3-1 with just one item, being that the Blade of the Ruined King, whereas Navi has the Rune Turkey, the BF Sword, and the Pickaxe. He should give up his dreams of even dueling that Kinglet, especially with Mise on the Morgana.
Exactly, you know, just really needs to hold back. If anything, like I mentioned, patience is key. Maybe perhaps try to get some farm on before he goes into these small skirmishes. And yeah, again, ADMU just really needs to learn how to be patient going up against TUP at this point because TUP is just so ahead right now.
He's just gonna love the Rift Herald. That's will be a root onto Poopy. He gets taken out by BAM. There is Zed for the flank onto Zen. And now ADMU forced out of their inner top lane turn, backs away, but that will be a clash in the river. Oh, did you see that charm onto Jules? That's actually a clutch. And right now, TUP making use of the Rift Herald so well, takes down 3 turrets in the top lane, and right now an inhibitor will be next. We can see that Zen and Zeno trying their best to defend it, but that would be a lane completely demolished by the Rift Herald.
Oh my god, TUP, exactly. I'm really psyched about finally we see a Rift Herald yung talagang sobrang sulit na paggamit.
That's how you use it.
Exactly, you know, for most of the games that we've seen, sobrang, if anything, average lang yung pagkakagamit, but this is probably the best use of Rift Herald so far for the LCL Interconference series.
This is so, in fact, the Rift Herald can actually win you the entire lane.
Exactly. And you know what the great thing is? TUP actually is within that position to maximize Rift Herald to that maximum efficiency. When you have this heavy of a lead, you know, you have that confidence to just mill down the members of Ateneo de Manila University. And here we go, we have that dragon. Will Chan be able to get the steal though?
No, he was not, and that was Chan. game picked off, but he does tunnel away from danger. And right now, Fuki, forced in the top lane, has to defend the incoming wave. You do not leave a lane, especially the top lane.
So let's go ahead and check out what happens here. So this is the Rift Herald actually frontlining for the members of TUP right here. And TUP, because of the lead that they have so much confidence to just go for these tower dives. And ADMU, because they're so behind, they can't, as much as they want to try to respond to this, it's pretty much a numbers game here at this point. TUP, 5 members complete, converging on the members that they right here we go, wow!
Charge, that would have been a kill, but we saw how TUP focused on to Mikos instead.
Exactly, and technically, you know, Mikos is actually a great target because he's very squishy, can't really do as much because he's so behind from that lane earlier. And yeah, here we go, 17 and 5 now on the scoreboard, but
overextended by Zeno, trying to get a kill onto Chan, which is not gonna really help out. Seeing how TUP with a goal lead of 37,000 compared to 28, that's more of a not even 7K, more than 7K, almost 10,000, 9,000 goal lead for TUP. And with the momentum they had from the Rift Herald play, TUP is just snowballing, just crazy, especially Navi. The first blood really dictated how the lane would have won, and right now Z in the front line trying to catch the members of ADMU. First will be Atomiko taking the ace in the hole. The inhibitor is very low, and this is just ADMU trying to fend up the wave. But we can see that Zen gets caught up in the dredge side, but the focus would be onto Fuki. Can't do much, and Jules is out of mana. He will not be able to defend 5-man siege from TUP, and I think this might be the first game in favor of TUP from the lead from the bot lane.
Oh no, here we go. We have 2 super minion waves, and this is kind of early. 20 minutes into the game, not to mention. This is just absolutely so hard for ADMU at this point. Like,
this is where LoL is becoming more of a fast-paced game. The recent item changes, the buff to the Rift Herald, as we saw in the top lane, TUP just used it so well. So in fact, if you start from the top lane all the way to the end of the lane, you cannot even really reach the Nexus turret. Because by that time, the Rift Herald would have bombed the turret so much, just killing itself.
Exactly, and you know, ADMU really needs to try to figure out how they play it out when they proceed into game 2, because there's definitely a lot of problems with how they played out the early phase of the game. Of course, again, it started off with that snowball from both Navi and Mise N, plus the fact that there was a clear lack of restraint coming from Jules. He was like overly ambitious going up against Navi and Mise N in these 2v2s, and it just allowed them to just snowball even more harder.
Yeah, the game is not yet over, but what can ADMU do? They have lost 2 inhibitors.
Exactly, you know, this is the tricky part because they're only 20 minutes into the game, plus the fact that TUP is so ahead. There's not really much they can do except for just try to fend off whatever TUP does to finish the game, and looks like Baron is actually up. So this is another thing, they don't want to give that Baron to TUP because once that Baron is taken, it's pretty much game over for them.
And if they don't even contest it, yeah, that's pretty much game over. But if they actually fight in the jungle side, it's really game over.
Oh,
we see tremendous lead from Chan, just burst around Nikos. Fuki got a kill front to Bam, but that's not going to really transition too much. Zen is very low. Flash into Zen. Depth chart instead onto Zeno gets knocked up. That will be Zeno going back, trying to catch Navi, but fails.
I actually feel for Zeno right now. He's been trying his hardest to try to make plays for his team, but it's just not, it hasn't been working at all. That being said, TUP looks like they'll be going for this mid lane instead to try to overwhelm ADMU even more.
This is what happens. The first blood dictated already the flow in the bottom lane, transitioning to L. They knew that Navi had the lead, and Chan just completely abused the fact that Rek'Sai can deny his vision.
Exactly, and no, this is going to be the mid inhibitor turret taken down. And not to mention an inhibitor to boot. This is TUP not wanting to give any further avenue for ADMU to even try to get back into this game, as hard as it is. And looks like this might be the last clash.
This will be the last allow for ADMU to try and retaliate, but members of TUP are just too tanky. Zeke soaks up the majority of the damage, leaving Navi for the scraps to clean it up, picking them one by one. But there you guys have it, TUP securing the first game of the double round robin.
Wow.
Speechless.
I'm speechless. I mean, like, I had a lot of expectation coming from both teams. If anything, I was expecting an even matchup. But wow, TUP really performed in that game. You know, I was preaching how Acedia might have actually been a hindrance to them, but didn't even show at all, and easily taking down Metro East's second seed in the conference series for their conference. But yeah, again, as I was saying, the problem, you know, I'm like, wow. But yeah, again, the problem ultimately lies in ADMU. They allowed TUP to get that early snowball in that lane, plus the fact that they were over-ambitious in trying to make those comebacks, and it only hurt them even more in the long run. And it was just TUP milling them down at that point, going into the mid-game, and there was just no way for ADMU to respond at that point because they were just so behind. And yeah, if you look at it here, the damage is actually pretty even for ADMU. Well, for TUP, you know, a lot of damage skyrocketing from both the Ari and the Caitlyn, not to mention, no surprise there. So yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see if ADMU can manage to recuperate and try to make a strong comeback, because this is actually a very definitive victory for TUP, you know, with a lot of confidence going into the second game, because there's definitely a lot of work that ADMU, a lot of adjustments actually that ADMU needs to do in terms of how they played out that game if they want to try to go 1-1 against TUP in game 2.
And there you guys have it. That was game 1 of TUP versus ADMU, with TUP. The snowball they carried through the bot lane just transitioned throughout the whole entire map. So there you guys have it. We'll be having a short break going to game 2 between TUP versus ADMU. We have been the shoutcasters for this game. I am Vulcan, and joining with me is my co-caster Arctic. We'll see you after a short break. Cena comes in from the mid lane, a shot down bounding onto Navi. Zeke is there from the top lane. Nolan there, Zeno forcing out his flash. Zen trying to get a kill up to Mise. Will he succeed? Mise broke over the wall. Safety for Mise, and a double kill for Chad. Wow, great good onto Fubi. He gets taken out by Bam. There is Zeke for the flank onto Zen, and now ADMU forced out of their inner top lane turn back away, but that was it. Oh, Clash in the pivot. Oh, did you see that charge onto Jules? That's actually a clutch. And right now, TUP making use of the Rift Herald so well, takes down 3 turrets in the top lane, and right now, an inhibitor will be next. You can see that Zed and Zeno trying their best to defend it, but that trying to retaliate, but members of TUP are just too tanky. Zeke soaks up the majority of the damage, leaving Navi for the scraps to clean up, picking them one by one. But there you guys have it, TUP securing their first game of the double round robin. Wow.
Not enough Garena shells to buy the latest League of Legends skin? On sale now? Get shells anytime, anywhere with your Globe or Touch mobile number. Go to gamer.com.ph and sign up with your mobile number and enter the verification code you will receive via SMS. Log in and choose the game and pin you want. Check out to purchase the pin with your load or through your postpaid account and receive the pin on your phone instantly. Never miss a sale on your favorite League of Legends skins and champions with Gamer.